Hello, Guilos. Today I came to shill not one, but 3 rom-com shows for you to slurp down. While I do know that rom-coms are the equivalent of Goy Feed, they cover all 5 food groups needed for a balanced diet, bland main characters, fan service, harems, dogshit writing, and incest. If for some reason you don't think that sounds like the best thing ever, then I suggest you try out a little trick called removing yourself from the gene pool. Anyways, let's get started. Have you ever had your heart broken? Have you ever wondered what happens to the side hoes after they lose? Have you ever thought about murdering a mangaka for having shit taste and picking the most basic, flavorless, wet tissue of a character when he has literal perfection in front of him? If you said yes to any of those, this might be the show for you. Here, a retarded NEET obsessed with the most optimal way of drinking tap water ends up picking up damaged goods and has to single-handedly work towards fixing them, all while a fat retard lardball orbits around him to consume food. Cuck Queen's Anna Yanami. She's completely retarded, and the only thing she cares about after having her heart broken is food. Throughout the series, she does everything in her power to eat as much as humanly possible, this being her only motivation. Let me demonstrate.
Lardius Maximus. Their empty brains and slim frames give them strength and endurance, and they need both to survive. This one is really hungry. She hasn't tasted food in 10 minutes and will battle for something to eat. See how the female becomes aggressive when denied her rightful share. The male is powerless against the laird beast's advances.
Lemon Yakusho. The dangerously brown creature in this show, her entire existence proving that once again, a racist's biggest weakness is brown anime women. She is even more retarded than the lard beast, since in one scene, after getting trapped in a storage room, her small Genki brain immediately overheats and, for some reason, decides to undress and molest Retardius. As a side note, the retard who broke her heart has the absolute worst taste ever, as he, for some reason, decides to go for a girl with a forehead big enough to fit an entire runway and at least 2 space stations on it. Amazing. Chika Kamari, a total autistic mess that can barely talk to other people, as she immediately starts stuttering the second she opens her mouth. Thanks to this, she's completely useless except when it comes to raiding tap water, writing smut, and raising children. This is all showcased when during her arc she keeps using her phone to communicate with others, since she gets overwhelmed incredibly easily. Surprisingly, she's the only one who was able to actually confess to the guy she liked, mogging the other 2 girls in the process. Basically what some of you retards would consider a girl failure, but somehow she's still the closest to anything that could be considered wife material. If you're completely mentally disabled just like me, then you'll probably enjoy the show. Go watch it. Are you a pocket prince? Do you have no human rights? Have you ever been abused and discriminated against by taller and stronger women? All this and more, just for the crime of being a measly 5'11". Then you will feel right at home with Dangers in My Heart, where a tall, mentally obese creature just takes ownership of a chuny, short king thanks to his endless autism being irresistible to women. This is clearly shown in that despite them starting off as complete strangers, she quickly comes to enjoy and seek his company as she finds him cute, since in her mind, Ichikawa basically behaves like a cat, acting annoyed most of the time, while also being very caring towards her and helping her out whenever she's in trouble. All this because he was fine with her coming to the library to eat and stopped her from getting caught. Fat fuck. So, as you can see, the story revolves around their daily interactions and how they slowly come to grow closer together, usually with a focus around food and Ichikawa being incredibly disabled. An example of this is when he decides to fucking launch his bike at Mach 10 into the river, all to save Anna from getting harassed by an older guy. Alright, so you might be wondering as to what I meant by her being a lard beast. A lard beast, or mentally obese woman, is a character whose sole purpose in life is slurping down as much food as humanly possible, while still being thin, usually acting very cute and retarded due to it. No, I wasn't bitten by a Jamaican, I promise. The sole love interest of the show, Yamada Anna, not only is incredibly mentally obese, but also very retarded. This, coupled with her being an actress and a model, makes her the ideal woman. Now you might be thinking, wow, this story sounds like a self-insert for the author. And you'd be right, except that the author's self-insert is actually the tall lard beast Yamada, making me realize that the retards talking about how women will only date the perfect man are actually full of shit, and that just maybe there's hope for the pocket princes out there. Very cute show. But before you go and watch it, a word of caution. This show is very unique in the sense that it uses a new technology to filter viewers, cringe-based electromagnetic pulses. These are concentrated in the first 3 to 4 episodes of the show and will induce instant brain damage to an unsuspecting viewer. This show is set in a dystopia where chemtrails and fluoride in the water made everyone mentally retarded, which includes the author of this series, but more on that later. It follows a lazy retard, a genius super student who secretly happens to know Russian and just chooses not to do shit, behaving like an actual tree, and a girl who is genuinely down bad for him, who, due to her embarrassment, her infatuation with him is explained during a flashback segment, during which she decides to never trust anyone ever again over a school project in like first grade, fully showcasing the extent of her autism and deep mental retardation. After this, it jumps forward in time to when she first meets Masachika, where, despite her initial impression of him being completely useless, he ends up helping her out during the class project, making it so her pussy is basically eternally magnetized to his cock. Because our main character is basically just a walking vegetable, he gets manipulated into joining the student council out of his desire to help Alia stop being retarded. Here we meet the rest of the cast, the most notable arguably being the 2 best girls in the show. This is because even though Alia's design and gimmick at first glance makes it seem like she would be the best character in the show, she gets absolutely fucking destroyed by both Masachika's sister Yuki, who is an autistic otaku obsessed with sexually harassing our main character, going out of her way to mess with him constantly, being pretty sobful while doing so. And Alia's sister Maria, who is just incredibly cute and just complete wife material, since she's just very caring and gentle, repeatedly soothing our MC whenever he's going through something tough. Despite this, the author, in a moment of pure genius, decided to make Maria the missing childhood friend they've been teasing since the start of the show, instead of Alia, who was Masachika's first love and the entire reason behind why he can speak Russian, even going so far as to make it so she's still in love with the main character after all these years, hoping to one day reunite with him, effectively making it so the best girl in the show and the one that has the best reason to end up with the MC exists for the sole reason of getting cucked. Yes, I know I'm biased, I just don't care. Because basically, this author suffers from something called shit taste, which is a lifelong disease many Japanese rom-com authors struggle to deal with, effectively forcing them to always have the blandest, most boring, and least developed character in a series win, all while having the perfect woman in front of them. Moving on, after Masachika gets basically forced into joining the student council, we enter the main arc of this season, the student council election arc, where the story basically devolves into what can only be described as an accurate representation of the US election cycle, since Masachika, who is secretly a level 99 rabbi, decides to use the full extent of his powers to make sure Alia wins the presidency, abusing both the powerful brainwashing technique that are little dark age edits and the ancient Jewish magic of spawning votes out of thin air. This, combined with him channeling Ben Shapiro during a debate.
Absurd. My sister has far more larger and far more beautiful breasts, and they have done far more for the right than some.
Basically makes it a given that they'll win the elections. However, we don't get to see it, as the anime ends before we can get an answer. Dog shit out of 10. Go watch it. And that's all of them, so please at least try one out, since they're pretty enjoyable in their own right. More videos to come soon.